I've finally published A Language Insufficiency Hypothesis, so it's time to start talking about it. I'm Bry Willis. I work primarily in the philosophy of language, which is the relevant domain here. In short, the language insufficiency hypothesis claims that as conceptual complexity increases, language effectiveness decreases. This is the headline. Everything else follows from it. The content is based on my book published in January 2026. I'll spare you the dance. It's called A Language Insufficiency Hypothesis. It's available through the usual suspects. Links are in the description. If you prefer an independent bookseller, the ISBN will get you there. Now back to the argument. There's an obvious paradox in using language to explain the limits of language. Sometimes other modalities compensate, sometimes they don't. The tension is part of the claim, not a defect in it. Take a look at the chart. This is a language effectiveness complexity gradient. Conceptual complexity is on the x-axis. Language effectiveness is on the y-axis. On the left, language effectiveness is near 100%. I call these invariants. These are concrete, pointable things. Tables, chairs, dogs, cats, trees. Here, we don't even need spoken language. We can gesture. Early human communication was mostly like this. Apple, there. Tiger, there. Good mushroom, bad berries. Lion, run. Notice how little specificity is required. Lion, run can collapse to danger, run, or even just run. The danger is understood. Some animals already distinguish between high danger and low danger without naming objects at all. So at this level, object specificity isn't doing much work. As complexity increases slightly, it becomes useful to distinguish apples from oranges or pine trees from pineapple plants. These distinctions are instrumental. They matter for action. Invariants rarely cause serious communication problems. When they do, more information usually resolves them. If I say the apple is on the tree, you might ask which tree. If it's visible, I point. If not, I add context. Down the road, around the bend, by the large stone. Same today. My keys are on the table. Which table? The kitchen table, the bedside table. Still easy territory. There's also polysemy. Table might mean furniture, a data table, or a table of contents. Context resolves this almost instantly. If I ask you to fetch my keys, you don't seriously wonder whether they're resting on a multiplication table. Invariants are boring. That's why language works so well here. Now jump to the other end. On the far right, where the curve collapses, we have ineffables. These are concepts where language effectiveness approaches zero. A familiar example is qualia, subjective experience. We can all point to blue objects, but we have no way to verify that your experience of blue matches mine. The same applies to pain thresholds, longing, grief, desire. We know these things exist. We can name them, but naming them doesn't transmit the experience itself. Language gestures, it doesn't deliver. Between invariants and ineffables is where things get interesting and where most of our trouble lives. This is the domain of what I informally call weasel words, what I divide into contestables and fluids. If you already have favorite weasel words, feel free to note them below. You probably do. These categories aren't discrete boxes. The curve is continuous, and the labels are signposts. The core claim is simple. Language effectiveness diminishes as conceptual complexity increases, and in this middle region, adding effort does not reliably restore clarity. This is where we put concepts like truth, justice, fairness, freedom, responsibility. These are not pointable objects, and they're not private experiences either. They're abstractions that we nevertheless treat as foundational. This is also where people keep insisting that the problem is insufficient clarity, insufficient effort, or insufficient intelligence. My claim is that beyond a certain point, clarity becomes asymptotic. You can approach it forever without arriving. That's the hypothesis. At the end of the book, I even suggest ways it might be tested empirically. In Chapter 5, I discuss Jacobellis versus Ohio, the case where Justice Potter Stewart, discussing pornography, famously says, "I know it when I see it." This is a contestable. The term isn't mine. It comes from W.B. Ghali, who argued that certain political concepts are ambiguous by design, allowing reinterpretation as contexts change. But that's a charitable reading, and I think it's naive. I argue that power structures exploit this ambiguity, but the ambiguity itself isn't intentional, it's structural. Opportunists simply fill the void. No conspiracy required. Nature may abhor a vacuum, but power abhors one more. Finally, I'll stop here and leave the rest for another time. Next, I'll talk about the effectiveness horizon and the presumed effectiveness horizon. If this was useful, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, notify yourself responsibly. If you think I'm wrong, even better, say so. This is the first in a series on a language insufficiency hypothesis. More to come, assuming sufficient human encouragement. Otherwise, I'll let the AI voices take over. They're quicker, cheaper, and far less patient. Cheers.